Ford has angered the internet, Honda has shocked the internet, China has invaded Chichester, and some random energy drinks brand turned up with a car designed by one of their employees called Adrian. Hi there, I'm Max, and that was the week that was in cars, Goodwood Festival of Speed 2024 edition. Now we're going to cover all of the big stories from the show, but typically we will cover the latest stories from the last 7 days. So if you want to be kept up to speed with all of that, then be sure to click subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I load up new content. Now we've got a lot to get through, so let's get straight into it. Ford has caused huge controversy with the launch of its all-new Capri. Much like the Mustang, it's taken a name from its sporting back catalogue and attached it to the back, or in this case front too, of an all-electric SUV. It shares absolutely nothing with the car that came before it, and as a result has upset some of the purists, to put it mildly. The car itself is a coupe crossover and is seen as the sporty sibling of the all-new European Ford Explorer. So much so it takes the bonnet, doors and bumper of the Explorer and pretty much all of the interior of the Explorer, and because of Ford's tie-up with Volkswagen, the car actually sits on their MEB all-electric platform. So if the Ford Explorer is very much the VW ID4 in a different dress, then the Ford Capri is very much going to be the same as the Volkswagen ID5, Cupra Tavascan and Audi Q4. So that means from launch there are going to be two powertrain options, a rear-wheel drive 77 kilowatt-hour variant with 286 horsepower, and that will do a 0 to 62 sprint in 6.4 seconds. There will also be an all-wheel drive 79 kilowatt-hour variant with 340 horsepower, and that will do 0 to 62 in 5.3 seconds. Range is 627 kilometers or 319 miles for the rear-wheel drive variant, or 592 kilometers or 367 miles for the all-wheel drive variant. Both will be able to charge on an AC charger up to 11 kilowatts, and the rear-wheel drive version will be able to DC charge up to 135 kilowatts, and the all-wheel drive variant will be able to DC charge up to 185 kilowatts. In other words, both will be able to charge from 10 to 80% in about half an hour. There will be two trim levels from launch, starting with the Select model, and that will start at £48,095 and going up to £61,275 for the all-wheel drive model with all the trimmings, and sales are expected to start at the end of this year. So what do you guys think? I've heard some people refer to it as looking like the Polestar 2. Some people think it looks a lot like the Honda Civic from the front. Personally, for me, I think there's an element of last gen Escort in there, but I could be talking complete nonsense, or maybe I'm going somewhere with that. Let me know in the comments below. And how do you feel about the Capri name? Would you feel better about the car if it was called something else, like say Cortina or Mondeo? Again, drop it in the comments. Honda caught everybody off guard when they launched their interpretation of a legendary sports coupe from their back catalogue when they showed us the new Prelude in the first glimpse paddock. Details of this car are still pretty scarce at the moment, but what we do know is it's going to be built on the same front-wheel drive platform as the current generation Honda Civic and is likely to use the same hybrid setup as that car. That means a 2-litre IMMD petrol engine mated to a 1.05 kilowatt hour battery, and that in the Civic creates about 186 horsepower, but we're expecting that to be upped in the Prelude. And for the suspension, we think we might also see a few components taken from the Civic Type R. Honda are very much pitching this at younger buyers because Honda buyers traditionally are a little bit older. But it's kind of being seen as a bit of a halfway house between a standard Civic and a full-fat Civic Type R. It is a concept at this stage, but having seen the car up close and seeing some of the parts on there being pretty much production ready, I wouldn't be surprised to see this car land in showrooms in the next few years. They say there are no plans to build a Type R version of this car, but Honda, if you are thinking about it, do it. I will probably buy one. My mum had an FK8 and that thing was awesome. What do you think? Do you want Honda to build one? If so, why don't you tag them in the comments down below? Red Bull, providers of high caffeine refreshment, and they just so happen to be a very successful Formula 1 team, took the covers off of their new RB17 track car as part of their 20th anniversary celebrations at the Festival of Speed, and they did it in very Red Bull fashion. It was the Skunk Works project of their chief designer, Adrian Newey, and it was called the RB17 because that name was originally planned to be for the 2021 Formula 1 car. But because of the event, that spot was taken by the RB16B because the teams had to run an evolution of the car before, delaying the new regulations till 2022, whereby Red Bull decided to give that the RB18 name. It will be powered by a 4.5 litre Cosworth V10 engine, revving up to 15,000 RPM. That's going to sound all gas, mate. There's only going to be 50 of them ever made, and they'll be yours for a cool £5 million each. Adrian said the car is going to be capable of lap times comparable to that of a Formula 1 car, and has been designed to not only look cool but sound cool and be enjoyed by both a driver and passenger. A very brave passenger at that, or one that will get into a screaming match with that V10 engine. It will have active aero and active suspension, and it will have an aero efficiency comparable of that to airliners. It will be quite practical too, with space for 2 helmets and your racing overalls, although there has been no word of what the glove box and storage bin situation is going to be like. Now, details of the car are yet to be finalised. Adrian is still doing his tweaks here and there, and he actually even said that the car we saw at Goodwood is going to be larger than the actual production model. He said the production model will probably be on a par with that of an Aston Martin DBX in terms of its length and width, not height, obviously. We're going to keep a close eye on this car's development because I think this is probably going to be the fastest non-race car we've ever seen. So if you want to keep up to date with that, then be sure to click subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified when we load up new content around the RB17. This year's Goodwood Festival of Speed also saw a massive surge of interest from Chinese brands as well. MG stole the headlines celebrating its centenary, while also leaving quite the sculpture on Lord March's lawn. Meanwhile, on the main stand, we got a first look at the all-new MG Cyber GTS, a coupe hardtop version of the Cyberster convertible. MG said that, like the Prelude, that this car was just a concept for the time being, but given how close it looked to production spec and the fact it was actually running up the hill, I would very much expect this car to be going on sale in either 2025 or 2026 at the latest. And of course, if it does, I'll be sure to report all about it here. If that does happen, we expect it to have pretty much the same powertrains as that of the Cyberster. So expect a 231 kilowatt and a 250 kilowatt single motor rear wheel drive version. And also there'll be an all-wheel drive version with 150 kilowatts going across the front axle as well. 0 to 62 times for the Cyberstar are 4.9 seconds for the single motor and 3.2 for the twin motor setup. But given the slightly slipperier design of the hardtop roof, we expect those numbers to drop slightly on the GTS. MG also took the covers off of its far less exciting second generation HS SUV. The HS will be available with both a petrol engine and plug-in hybrid variant, with the plug-in hybrid variant having a class-leading 75 miles of pure electric range. That will be a 1.5 litre petrol engine mated to an electric motor and will be able to do 0 to 62 in 6.8 seconds. This model will be of particular interest to company car drivers as it has a benefit in kind tax rate of only 5%. And the plug-in hybrid variant will be available from $31,495 for the SE model and will top out at $33,995 for the trophy model. The petrol variant, meanwhile, will start at $24,995 for the SE model and will top out at $27,495 for the trophy. That model features an all-new 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine, producing 169 horsepower with 275 Newton meters of torque, and will be able to do a 0 to 62 sprint in 9.4 seconds. Both petrol and plug-in hybrid variants also benefit from a 7-year, 80,000-mile warranty. Highlights of the specification include on the trophy model 360-degree camera, wireless phone charger and a whole host of ADAS safety systems. It's going to be available in 5 colours, and the petrol version is expected to start landing in dealerships around now, really, in July, and the plug-in hybrids are expected to land sometime in September. Chery was also making its UK public debut with its Jaecoo and Omoda brands. The Jaecoo J7 was shown to the UK public for the first time ahead of its launch into dealers come September, and that car will be available with both petrol and plug-in hybrid variants and will start from about £35,000 and will go up against the likes of the BMW X1, Mercedes GLA and the Volvo EX40. There was also the Omoda 5 there, seen in all-electric E5 guise. It will go up against the likes of the Skoda Enyaq and Renault Scenic and will be priced from £33,500 and will top out at about £35,500. It will have a BYD sourced 60.4 kilowatt hour battery and will have about 260 miles of range with 200 horsepower under your right foot. DC charging is expected to be able to charge up to 80 kilowatts, so expect a charging time of around 40 minutes from 10 to 80%. Of course, if you prefer a combustion version of that car, then you can. That will be available with a 1.6 litre petrol engine with 147 horsepower, and prices for that will start from about 25 grand. BYD were there with their premium sub-brand Yangwang. They were showcasing their new Seal U plug-in hybrid SUV alongside that of the Atto 3, Dolphin and Seal electric models. Yangwang unveiled its U8 off-roader and U9 supercar, both incorporating the advanced E4 platform and D-Sus-B suspension system, highlighting their focus on luxury and performance. The U8 features quad motors offering superior off-road capabilities and innovative features such as the crab walk and 360-degree tank turn. The U9, meanwhile, was a high-performance electric supercar, accelerating from 0 to 60 in just 2 seconds, and it has an ability to dance. I have been told on the stand that they are intending to change the name from Yangwang to something that will suit European audiences a little better. But what do you think? Should they keep the name or should they change it for something else? Comment down below. Hongqi also made an appearance at the Goodwood Festival of Speed by introducing 2 electric cars, the EH7 Saloon and the EHS7 SUV. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with who Hongqi are, they are the people that make the Chinese president's limo. Both models share the same platform and are available with either 85 or 110 kilowatt hour batteries. They'll also have about 610 horsepower on tap and will be able to do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds for the Saloon and 3.9 seconds for the SUV. Both are then capable of doing over 300 miles, with the Saloon doing 360 and the SUV doing 329. Hongqi is already entering several European markets, including the Netherlands, Denmark, Switzerland and Norway. And this is despite the EU introducing new tariffs on EVs imported from China due to what they feel are unfair subsidies. So what do you think of these new Chinese brands coming into the UK market? Is this good to really drive up innovation? Or is it bad considering that they are so much cheaper than what's already on offer? And I'm not just talking about these new Chinese brands, I'm also talking about the Chinese-owned brands such as Polestar, Lotus and MG. Let me know in the comments below. So that's just a handful of the big news stories coming out of this year's Goodwood Festival of Speed. Of course, there were other cars such as the BMW M5, which we will cover as they get closer to their launch dates. So if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit like, click subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I load up new content. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I'm Max, this is Max Talks, and I'll see you on the next one.